All right, no fucking around. What happened? Is Quinn up? Wildly stupid move. I don't know how dumb it is. I'm gonna talk about it. Watching Angela win happen. No, Angela's out of the running. It's dumb for MJ, sure. I don't know how dumb it is for Chelsea. I'm not even certain how dumb it is for Cam. Why was Chelsea lying about Leah to Quinn? Is weird. She must have gotten talked into it last second because it really seemed like Leah was going to go up with the way Chelsea was talking. Can we talk about why it's a bad move for Mackenzie? Well, it's a bad move for Mackenzie, and you could say this is Quinn's fault, but like, obviously Mackenzie, outside of Cam and Chelsea, has nobody, and Quinn wanted to work deep with Mackenzie. This is like a very, very obvious. But I think for Chelsea and Cam, I think it's probably the right move. I think this is one of those times where you can't be short sighted. Like I think it's very obvious to people like, oh, you got to split the trio, got to split the trio. I don't think splitting up this trio is a good idea for Chelsea at all. I think her maybe getting rid of Chemo as long as T-Core and Rabina are okay with it is fine. But the trio is pretty great for Chelsea because the trio is going to try to take her to the final four. Um, and everyone else has to target the trio. You know what I mean? I do think it's very interesting how Mackenzie, I mean, she's never seen the show before, right? Why she thinks it's her big move. Getting rid of Chemo is best case for MJ. Yeah, I think so. Because I think eventually Quinn would have tried to use MJ to go against the other people. It's mostly Angela's big move. Okay, it's not that. It's definitely Chelsea's move. That's who it is. It's Chelsea, and then a sprinkle of Cam and a sprinkle of MJ. Yeah, the veto was used on Angela, and Quinn was the replacement nom. This is a. You hear what Leah's saying right now? Leah's being like, none of you guys came in for a deeper purpose. You guys came in for 750K, which is interesting. Yeah, I do think a lot of times, you know, it's like retroactively applied to situations when ultimately people are playing the game. And sometimes when these higher causes apply, you'll take advantage of them. When they're not, they won't. I don't think that's a horrible thing, to be clear. But I do think that's true. I mean, especially this season, I think with T-Core and Chelsea's bond specifically, at least from Chelsea's side, it kind of comes and goes how meaningful it is. But it's very messy to watch, I think. Six girls, two men. Here's the thing. Look, I am in no way convinced that Quinn is being evicted yet. I just don't. And the reason is I think Chemo is still such an attractive target. I don't think this screws Cam at all. I think Cam getting rid of Quinn is the right call for him. Honestly. Still six girls, two men, though? Yeah. All right, you're right. Which means we're going to have the two guys in the final two. We've seen this before. I think I have Madeline. They're hilarious. I think Big Brother 25, it was 5 girls, 2 guys in the final 7, right? And that was final 2. Quinn is a shield for Cam. We're too late in the game for shields. It's going to come down to comps at this point. And like I still don't think Quinn is a super effective shield for Cam. At this point, I think this is my opinion, and I feel pretty strongly about it. I think Cam, MJ, and Chelsea should try to run the comps as a trio. Because they're not competing against anyone menacing. They're competing against Angela and the trio. T-Core, Chemo, and Rabina are not good at comps. And Cam hasn't proven himself to be great. MJ's proven himself to be better. Chelsea's proven herself to be pretty good. And Leah. There's Leah too. I mean, who knows what Leah does, right? But I think they're in a position where we're at the final 8 now, and there's 3 of them, and they're the 3 biggest comp threats. I think it's indisputable. Chelsea can't play an HOH, obviously, which is bad, but I think it's good for Cam and Chelsea. I think it's bad for MJ. One mental comp gone wrong kind of ruins the whole thing. This was the Matt and Jag playbook. One mental comp going wrong and everything's dangerous. But they had a trio. There's Matt, Jag, and Bowie. So you take a risk, but it's not a bad... Like, I think for Chelsea, especially because the trio is going to defend her more, it's good, but I still think for Cam, his winning path is going to be a lot of competitions, and getting Quinn out is a good move. Ace and Angela won 2 HOHs. I'm evaluating the players how I see them. How I see them compete. Chemo's AI Arena win, I can't express this enough, means nothing to me. It means 0. And T-Core's quiz win also means 0 to me. Like, T-Core's a smart person. She could win a quiz, so can Chemo. But when I'm talking about end-game competitions, these things are not what I am sleeping on the trio. They can win comps for sure. But when we're like trying to predict the future, I like the possibility of you guys are competing against these 3 in comps. That's a good thing. Does Bowie feel bad about choosing Matt and Jag over you in America? She spent a lot of the time here trying to convince us that she could not win, even if she got rid of America at the final 6, and I argued against it for hours. It's crazy. I think they'll have a double eviction at the final 6, right? Same time they did for America. The microphone is new. Let me turn off the fan so we get rid of the whatever feedback. Only one double this season for sure. They're not doing 2. Bowie's audition tape was fun. I liked it. It was super good. I mean, you have to understand, her initial pitch is I'm a Australian DJ at night and barrister during the day. Also, I played professional tennis. Like, it's a really good, whatever. But no, I think this move is good for Chelsea. I think it's the right call. I think it's good for Cam. I think it's bad for MJ. I just think it's like so silly when people, incessantly talk about the previous comp wins. And it's like, I just think we have to be realistic about how comps are. And this season's been a lot better, and maybe they will change them, in which case we can reevaluate. But I feel very comfortable if I was Cam, MJ, and Chelsea at this point. Especially Chelsea, who could survive. And Cam, who has a good shot of winning a veto, right? If not an HOH. Quinn already talking about his game in the past tense. I think he's reacting very similar to how I reacted, except I had someone else. on the block with me. I had America, but I think it's just very like fuck, you know. And I will say, like, I feel for Quinn in a lot of ways because I think, unlike me, he's gonna have a ton of regrets. I think he's gonna have a ton of like tangible regrets of where he thinks he fucked his game up. Who's your predicted winner? At this point, I mean, Chelsea's the only option that makes any sense. I think Chelsea or Cam. I could still see Cam winning. They still flip it to chemo. I think so, but you don't start campaigning. Like I started campaigning very quickly, but you usually take a beat. I think they're revealing the Pentagon info to chemo. Like you could, in his head, the visionaries were who he wanted to work with. I think he can come to peace with that. I think it's just the HOHs are what kills him. Decor is a valid pick. I guess I see the game going more in Cam and Chelsea's direction than Decor, Chemo, and Rubina's. But if it goes that other way, you'd imagine Decor would win for sure. I do not think Chelsea would take Decor to the final two. I do not believe that. I think if Chelsea could have her pick right now, it weirdly might be MJ. Or obviously Angela, you know? People have been openly talking about how much of a jury threat T-Core is. I think the double eviction ace will be at the final six. So I think we have, it won't be this next Thursday. It'll be the Thursday after that. T-Core would take Chelsea. And I don't know if T-Core would win. I mean, T-Core would obviously get Chemo and Rabina. But I think Quinn would definitely vote for Chelsea. Cam would vote for Chelsea. Leah, Angela, they would be like the swing votes. Leah, Angela, and I think MJ would vote for Chelsea. Like I think that'd be a very close vote. But I think Chelsea would edge it out. No battle back, no shot. I don't think they would do jury battle backs anymore. I think if they ever do a battle back again, it's going to be very similar to how they did it during my season, where it's like, okay, Jag gets voted out and comes right back in, or the two zombies get voted out in a double and then come right back in. Like, they don't like the sequestering people like mid-game anymore. Like pre-jury, where they all have to stay in hotels for 6 weeks, or in jury, they all have to bring them back from the jury house. Like, I think that's, the days of that are over. I did not like jury battle backs. I thought they were lame. I feel like if T-Core owned more of her moves... Okay, can someone explain to me T-Core's best move? Like, what moves has she made? Flipping on Cedric, I think, is the big one. But I think it's really hard to argue, like, my big move was week 4. Or week 4. Because, like, Tucker leaving was obviously not her. And, like, I'm not saying she needs to have more moves right now. Like, it's fine. You're at the final 9, and you're in a great spot. I think T-Core is doing well. But, like, so many of the moves have been happening around T-Core. You know, like, this Quinn move had nothing to do with her. The Tucker move had nothing to do with her. It actually happened in spite of her. Like I think the important thing is, like, when people think about T-Core, I think you could think of her like Suri in a weird way. Like, she's like Suri, except she's Suri in the sense of she's God tier socially. Suri is God tier socially. But while Suri was way too much strategically, T-Core is way too little strategically. You know what I mean? Suri's too active, T-Core's too passive. And I think both of them might struggle with comps in the end. You'd think T-Core would have a better shot, but granted, Suri's a lot better than T-Core. I know that, but T-Core is very emotional about decisions. Suri is too, and not in like a Jared women be emotional kind of way. But like Suri mostly made decisions in the first half of the game. And maybe that was just her talking to Izzy as well and talking to Jared, but like she was definitely making decisions emotionally. It's kind of a mixed bag though. Like sometimes sometimes she would go against her. It's hard to describe. We'd have to go vote by vote, and probably no point. Thank you, Nowhere Man. I appreciate you. I think if Suri went in as a lone wolf, she'd be a little bit more Ice Queen, you know? Hello, Nowhere. Welcome to the chat. Who do you think goes this week? I think it's Quinn, but I think he stands a chance. I think Chemo being on the block gives him a real campaign. And the votes he's going for, like, here's the benefit of if you're Quinn. And this is something that I kind of wish I had. I kind of did, more than a lot of people. Quinn knows exactly who he has to campaign to. So obviously, T. Cory and Rabina are off the table. So he needs to convince, he assumes he already has Leah, I'm sure. But what he really needs is to convince Cam, MJ, and Chelsea. That's all he cares about. Angela would be great, but Cam, MJ, Chelsea. And he needs to convince them that the trio is a big deal and he's not targeting them, he's targeting the trio. That's all he has to do. And it's a really hard campaign to make because he was just backdoored. So, like, it's hard for Chelsea to believe that Quinn's not targeting her. But that is the campaign and he, like, knows what he has to do. And while I think Quinn is a very bad player in the sense of developing his own plans, he almost always goes the wrong strategic directions when given a choice. I think he's actually better at executing than a lot of people in the house. Like, he's good socially and he understands the game. So having, like, a direct task how to campaign, I think he could do okay. That she doesn't even... Quinn doesn't need Angela's vote. He's going to get MJ, Cam, and Leah. And then Chelsea. Like, if you're going to get MJ, Cam, Chelsea, you need to get all of them. You know, so, like, that's the group. I think the problem with the campaign, as I already said, is now that Chelsea's backdoored Quinn, she has very little reason to believe that Quinn would be loyal to her, you know? That bridge has kind of been burnt. What's very confusing is what the fuck was Chelsea talking about with Quinn earlier in the day? Was that just Chelsea trying to convince or trying to, like, justify why she was putting up Quinn? So Quinn, like, would understand why after she put him up? Or was she genuinely trying to get it to be Leah? I really think you're wrong, Giesling. I think these past 2 weeks have been two of the best weeks of the season. Like, the week immediately after Tucker left, with Joseph getting a boot, was fucking wild. Like, crazy. And this week has been nuts so far. I think the feeds have improved a lot. All right, let's see Quinn in the backyard. Oh, this is so fucking awkward. Oh, God, I hate it. Oh. It's so awkward, this, like, reintegrating into after your... thank God I had America. Because you guys probably saw, like, I was trying to make things casual with, like, Matt and Jag and them, and they were just so stiff. It's not like they were ostracizing me, like, that would be too far, but they were, like... They felt more awkward about interacting with me than I did about interacting with them, and it was really off-putting to me. And I really felt like I was the one forcing the issue of, like, socializing. I think it's just like, I think this is just a human thing. When you do something wrong to someone, whether it's, like, deserved or not, like, whatever the case is, like, the onus for making that person feel comfortable should fall on not that person. You know what I mean? Yeah, I think this is pretty good for Leah's game. I think Leah should coast through. You know what's crazy? You know who I think, honestly, might be the best target for Chelsea this week? Even better than Quinn. Who do you guys think I think the best target is for Chelsea? Chaotic says it was Leah, Rabina, Chemo, MJ, Leah, Tucker, Mackenzie, MJ, Leah, Rabina, Leah. No one said it yet. Angela. I think Angela Taston. I think Angela would be. I've seen this shit before. You have to get rid of Angela eventually. You have to. And I believe Quinn would have stuck with Chelsea for a while. Maybe not the whole duration. But you have to get rid of Angela. It's so dangerous for someone like Chelsea in the game. Someone who's clearly a jury threat. If you're a jury threat, you need to keep the other jury threats around. It was the whole philosophy of me trying to keep Suri to the final three. You have to make sure your allies pick you over the other person. And all of her allies will pick Angela over her if it comes down to it. Except maybe like T-Core, because T-Core is very loyal sometimes. A jury threat is somebody who will do very well at the jury vote in the final two, who's going to, win if they're in the final two. And because Angela is so reliably not going to get any votes, everyone's going to pick her over Chelsea. Now, if Chelsea starts ripping off competition wins, then that's a whole different case. Because she could be the person who brings Angela to the end. But Chelsea doesn't need a GOAT. Chelsea just needs to get in the final two chairs. He said multiple times he's going to target Chelsea before T-Core and Rabina and Chemo. Yeah, there's stuff he could do, Rainey. I think there's stuff. I think it's a hard campaign, but it's a very reasonable campaign. He knows the votes he has to get. He knows the pitch. Chemo is a reasonable target on the block. He's not dead in the water. I would not bet on him staying, though. Absolutely not. He said if he won the double, his noms were Chelsea and T-Core. Yeah, it's not good. I don't know. I feel like he's been very up in the air about what he would do because he's very much, I want to target Chemo, but I guess here's what I would do. Here's my plan. If you target Angela, Chemo's still there for Quinn to target. You know what I mean? I think in Quinn's head, Chemo was going all week. I still think Quinn would have to target Chemo before Chelsea. At least how he's been talking the past couple of weeks. Does Quinn try to get Rabina's vote? I don't think he should. I think he should know that's a lost cause. Is Quinn the worst superfan player ever? I want to hear your list ranking. This is actually an interesting kind of topic. I want you guys to give me all the superfan nerds, people you put in that category, and we'll do a little tier list. So superfan nerds, who do you got? Ronnie's for sure a superfan nerd. America does not qualify. That is a different archetype. She's a superfan, but that's not a Matt. Are you saying like Matt Hoffman? I don't know if I'd put Matt in that category. Steve, obviously. Ian, obviously. Me, obviously. I wouldn't say Franzel, really. Michael, I think, qualifies. It's a very specific archetype. It's like white nerds. White superfan nerds. Like that is the archetype. It's like a very specific one. Quinn, obviously. Eric is a superfan nerd. Was he a superfan? I'm sure he was. Does Joseph not count? I don't think so. I don't think he's the same archetype. I think Joseph was more Cameron Hurd. Sure, he does qualify. That is I think Joseph is more like a Turner than Cory. You know what I mean? Even if he's more of a fan. Oh, Scotty, 100%. I'll put Eric down. I know Joseph's a super fan, but I think just casting archetype. McCray, I think, is more Joseph and Turner as well. I put Ronnie already. Jason Roy. Would you guys put Jason in this archetype? Scott, BBOTT. Okay, sure. I'm not going to say Claire, not Johnny Mac. Not Cliff. Like, it's more than just being a super fan. It's like the super fan nerd who's always going to go in the DR and talk about strategy. You know what it really is? The biggest tell and I know this is Joseph, so it's a little bit counterintuitive or hypocritical, but the person who in the like intro goes like this or like this, you know what I mean? Like that person. I'm not doing BB Can, no. Kevin Jacobs would qualify, but we're not doing Big Brother Canada. Derek kind of did it, yeah. I did this, I think. All right, let's do this. Let's do this list. I'm pretty happy with the people I got. Okay. So, of all these players, Eric is number one. This is very clear to me. Eric's number one. That is not competitive. No girl superfans, that's like a different thing. I think it's a different archetype in general. You're two? No, Steve is very clearly number two for me. It's not close. Steve is number two. And then it becomes down to me versus Ian and Michael. I think like clearly it's me, Ian, Michael are the next three. And I think, I mean, it's kind of hard not to say Ian just because he did win. His game was really bad, but it's not like my game was very good. I think Ian probably is number three. And look, I think Ian's comp ability is pretty huge. And then I think it's probably Michael, and then Cory, and then probably like, honestly, Cameron, Scotty, Scott, Ronnie. I'd say Quinn, Scott, Ronnie. I think that's what it has to be, right? Cameron was evicted first. Yeah. I think the being a non-factor, I have more faith. Like if they were going into like another season with new players, I'd have more faith in Cameron than anyone below him. Is this a bad take? I don't think it's a bad take. You're below Scotty. That's an insane opinion, I think. I think that's a wild one. I could tell in chat you're not a big fan of mine, Mr. JT Sizzle. But I think that's a hard opinion to defend. You have better social capabilities than Ian and Michael? Yeah, but they were both able to win like 5 vetoes each. 6 vetoes. They were really good at comps, which is very important. I think me and Michael is pretty close, though. Quinn's better than Cameron and Scotty. I mean, I don't... I think Quinn, you could argue, is better than Scotty. That can't be how you spell Scotty, is it? I feel like it is a weird spelling like this. JT Sizzle, it's all relative, man. Am I a bad Big Brother player? Sure, but am I better than most Big Brother players? Definitely. You know, like there's levels to these things. Top 30 is not true, but top probably 70 or 80 or something out of 330 or something. So here's Scotty does better on average is my thought. You got to go on the Diary Room podcast with Amon and Matt. This is that kind of conversation. Because you're the only one thinking about Scotty in a future season. I think Scotty was terrible. Scotty was pretty terrible. He was pretty bad. And getting hoodwinked by Tyler, there's no shame in that, but getting hoodwinked twice by the same player is tough after you get evicted once. No, I don't think he's going to mention the second juror curse. Who hoodwinked you? Not even Suri did. Different people at different times, but nothing as consistent as Scotty with Tyler. Cameron, BB19. BB25, Cameron, I probably have under Scott, above Ronnie, I think. Who's better, Scotty, Matt Hoffman, or Kirsten? This is a good question. I think Matt Hoffman's the best, Scotty's the second best, and Kirsten's the worst. Yeah, I think honestly, like Steve and them bringing the Oz twins to the final six, Steve and Johnny Mac keeping them was a bad move. Like I think it worked out, but I think they were too competent at competitions to take that risk. In a way where I think T-Core, Chemo, and Rabina is actually a more reasonable prospect bringing them deep. And here's the other thing for Chelsea. I'm not even convinced that T-Core and Rabina would take Chemo to the end instead of Chelsea. You know what I mean? Probably would. Would you play again? Sure, but I'm not counting on it. And I do not expect to get a call. So if they were to have another All-Star season and they needed this archetype, who do you think they pick? Because I think Eric Stein, no shot, unfortunately. He'd be my first pick. Steve wouldn't do it. Ian, they might ask Ian again. Like, I'm going to be just very straight up. Michael? Yeah, I think they'd ask Michael. I think he's the most iconic because of the comp stuff, but I wonder if they were turned off by some of the Michael stuff. But, I mean, they bring back Cameron to reindeer games after all that stuff. Do they care? Why wouldn't they pick you? I don't think they like me. I don't think they dislike me that much, but I don't get the impression that they're probably a big fan of how I've been conducting myself post-show, if I had to guess. Right? Everyone loved Cameron, though. I think Michael was kind of a fan favorite, too, though. Not as much as Taylor, but at least until the Kyle situation. And then there's as many Cameron haters as Michael haters. The negative Michael stuff was in the edit. That is a difference. That's a difference. Michael has scandals. I don't think he has scandals, plural. I thought you had a ton of win potential. I think I had a sizable slice of the pie. Haven't liked any Cams come across the show. Cam Sullivan Brown's been chill. And I liked Cameron Hurd. Just actually that one that I don't like. Well, also, when you say production hated Michael for exposing the Kyle Cookout comments, do you think they liked me talking about Matt and Cameron and all that shit all the time? I think instead of placing the blame at the feet of the people who are doing it, they probably, were upset with me for bringing it up as much as I could. Because the whole goal is to sweep it under the rug, hide it from the feeds, and it's harder when I keep yapping. The Luke stuff, I don't think they actually... The Luke stuff, I don't think would have any impact on me. Which, like, come on. Like, there's no way. That's not a thing. That was not on me. They showed it on the feeds themselves, first of all. Maybe if Luke said it and they tried to hide it, and then I said something, they'd be annoyed with me, but that was not a thing. Can we rank girl superfans? What's the list? Sure, we could do it. We'll do whatever. We're bored. Who are the girl superfans? So you got Claire, America, Nicole. Christine was not a superfan. I know she looks like a superfan, but she was not a superfan. Janelle's not a superfan. Michelle was a superfan. Big Meech. Was Nicole Anthony really a superfan? Brittany was, yeah. Alex was definitely not a superfan. Alex BBOTT. Okay. Yes. Not Alex O. Nicole Anthony was. All right. I'll give it Nicole Anthony. Chada. I count Chada. I would not count Brooklyn. Izzy, I'll count Izzy. Like, look, I'll count Izzy. She saw every season. That counts. Was Vanessa a super fan? I don't think so, right? Was Hannah? Hannah was, yes. I'm not going to rank June. It's just a different thing. But I love June. Vanessa wasn't. Yeah, I didn't think so. Anyone you think I'm missing? Audrey probably was. I would imagine, yeah. I'll throw Audrey on the list, sure. Audrey was definitely a super fan, right? Was she doing Sequester before Big Brother, or was that just after? Tiffany Mitchell. Would you consider Tiffany Mitchell a super fan before? Davon. We're being much looser with who we're considering super fans here, but we'll do the whole list. I would not consider Haley. I won't count Tiffany. Why not Brooklyn? Because she was a casual. She like called herself a casual. Wasn't Helen? Here's what I'll say. I'll say Azza and Tiffany. Just let's make a big ass list. Brooklyn called her Taylor Hall. Yeah, like I'm not putting Brooklyn on there. Davon was not a feeder, but neither was Izzy, right? Jessica, no shot. Jessica was a recruit who pretended to be a viewer. I think that's how it seems to me. She probably watched it in her childhood and then pretended like she was a fan. But a whole ass recruit. Nicole, Franzel, and Anthony. Claire was a super fan, yeah. All right. Number one from this list is Tiffany. How many people? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. No. Okay. Oh no, Nicole's better than Tiffany. Nicole F is definitely better than Tiffany. Sorry. Why is it so shitty? Whatever. Let's cross them out. Tiffany's gone. Nicole F is gone. Who's the next best player? Claire, America, Michelle, Brittany, Alex. It's a big fall off. Nicole A, Chada. My gut is telling me Chada is next, but I think you could argue Brittany. I think Brittany and Chada are the next two. But I think Chada is. And then I think I would go Brittany. After this, I think I would go Claire. I think I go Claire after this. It's hard to rate cookout players. It is. And then after this, I think it's America. I'm sorry, I don't have Nicole Anthony higher than America. I simply don't. BB 24. I think America would be 6. But it's really close between these people. Like, then I probably would have Azza, I think. And then maybe I think Alex. I said Hannah's better than Claire. Look, I think you could definitely say Claire would be better than Hannah on a normal season, but I think they're very similar, and Hannah did have a deep run, and like even I think it's kind of tough. I put Hannah instead of Chada, if not for any particular reason. Um, I mean, Audrey's kind of hard to evaluate because obviously it's a tough experience in that house. But I think Audrey's got to be last, right? I think Davon's probably 12th, I think I'd say. And then probably Michelle. No, I'd probably say Izzy. I don't know. Izzy and Michelle is kind of close. This is Michelle from 18. Izzy, Michelle, Nicole. Izzy's better than Michelle. Yeah, I could be moved. I agree. I could agree with that. What do you guys think? Hannah's about 7 spots too high? I don't think so. I think Hannah's pretty good. I think it's like, here's how I do it. It's a tier. It's a tier. I think these are the tiers. Does this make sense? This is off games alone or potential. I think mostly we're evaluating what we saw, projecting a little bit. Why America over Azza? I think America has is much more willing to be cutthroat and make a big move, be decisive when she needs to. I think America is much messier than Azza, but I think America is going to cut Xavier for Big D, you know? I think Azza would do well on most seasons, but yo, how are you, man? How you doing? Shout out to Bruno. Azza would have taken Xavier. Yeah, exactly. Like, America would not have done that. Did Bowie leave? Yes, I drove her to the airport this morning. Lots of BB25 on feeds right now. Oh my god, we gotta hear this. Ah, run. I'm still distraught you put yourself under Ian. Deep down in my heart, I think I'm better than Ian, but you're not gonna see me put that on paper. I just switched onto the camera and Cam's talking about the BK spicy chicken sandwich. Ozza would beat Big D in final two. I think Frenchie would beat Big D in final two. Chelsea says she loved you in America. That's sweet. I like Chelsea. Yeah, they're talking about America right now. Yeah, she went to Brown. Thanks, Survivor Desi, for the gift. They're talking about me. That's right. I am a smart person. God, they would never ask Izzy back. I wish they did. I don't think Reindeer Games is happening, y'all. I would be shocked. No way they got the budget for that. The chance of an all-women Final Six is high. I think it's unlikely because of Cam. I think Cam is going to be the holdout. Cam's going to sneak through a little bit. Talking about my ass crack. Oh, no. the people in the house have no idea that Taylor on Twitter is villainizing a 14-year-old. For shame. Who goes before Cam, Chelsea, and Angela? I think probably we can't really say. Leah, maybe. It's someone. I think Cam will win HOH. Maybe MJ. You put FBI in a 14-year-old, they're not 14. They're older, above the age of 18 at least. The best recruit player ever, I think Tyler, definitely. Tyler's a recruit. Cody's a recruit too, so maybe Cody. Probably Cody. I have to say Cody's better than Tyler. I truly don't believe it deep down, but Cody is better than Tyler. It's impossible to argue against it. Tyler was a fan, but he was recruited. No, Tyler was on TKO, and then they were like, you should go on Big Brother. That was what happened. So it's kind of a weird one. But Cody is 100% the... Am I crazy? I thought this was the story. He applied to TKO and then went from there. He applied for OTT. Okay. If you applied at one point, I wouldn't call you a recruit. I don't think that's right. I hear you, Survivor Jesse, but like imagine if Wu came back and then played the best game of all time and won. You know what I mean? Like that's kind of the difference between that. I don't think that comparison works perfectly. And then imagine like it's like and let's be honest, like Tyler quit the game in Big Brother 22, which I think is more indefensible than Cody taking Derek to the final too. It's a different game altogether, but I think invalidating like a 90-something day season where he literally ran it with an iron fist is crazy. Because you know who did the most pre-gaming that season, Survivor Desi? Take a guess. Who was the most virulent? You know what word I'm looking for? Pre-gamer. Who do you think? Because it was definitely someone who was evicted pre-jury. It was Danny and Janelle. Well, it's Danny if you think Janelle is telling the truth. These are Cam's dogs at the cribs. Hell yeah. The boys. Yeah. The Survivor casting we'll do probably on Wednesday, I believe. Tomorrow we'll do a classic Big Brother all day. We'll do another rankings because things have changed. We always do them on Tuesday. We'll watch the feeds all day to prepare for the live feed update. Wednesday we'll do Survivor. You have Dan as number one? Yeah. I think anyone who doesn't have Dan as number one is hard to take serious. Hard to take seriously. I think the top 5 is pretty hard to argue against. I think it's if you don't have, and when I say, I'm going to say 5 white men, which is a testament to Big Brother being flawed in the past. And hopefully that'll change in the future and someone will break into this 5. But based on what we have so far, it's Derek, Will, Cody, Dan, and Andy in some order. And what I will say, Giesling, is if you just watch Will and BB7, I'm watching the episodes right now, which is very different from watching the feeds. The audacity, like he is a better performer than he is a player, and he's a great player. But goddamn, would half of his shit not work on a current season? Like, I'd have no faith in Will playing any season post Big Brother 12. I think Dan does well any, all seasons, all eras. Obviously, you'd flame out sometimes, but... You watch Feeds, he was masterful? Okay. I guess my thing with Will is it's kind of like judging Bill or Russell in basketball, if you know what that means. Like, he played in the 60s and he was the best player in the world, but you can't compare it to the modern era. Like, even Big Brother 7 is so hard to... It's so different. And even Dan playing in 10 and 14, it's like that's realer. It's more real Big Brother. And I think, honestly, the way you consider Will's game is like his game in Big Brother 2 does not add much to his legacy for me. I feel like you almost have to fully judge him on his game in Big Brother 7, and he got 4th because of his own mistakes. Again, not to rag on Dr. Will, he's top 5 for me, for sure. It's just, you're basically judging a 4th place game. I view his BB2 game as top 4 all time. Yeah, I think that's an objectively insane opinion. Like, a wild, insane reevaluate your Big Brother perspectives opinion. But I respect it. Chelsea wants to flip the vote and keep Quinn. Of course she does. Where would you rank Vanessa? She's somewhere from like 12 to 16 or something. She's between like 10 and 20. You guys wanna do my rankings very quickly, because I haven't done it really on stream. I could make a whole stream out of it, but let's just do this for now. Okay. Number 1 is easy. This is Dan. 2 through 4 in some order is going to be Derek, Will, and Cody. Andy just doesn't stand a chance because of he only played 1 season and Derek's game was more dominant, unfortunately, for Andy. I think this is probably my list, right? Like, this is how I've always had it, but I feel like I should put... No, here's what I'll do. Here's honestly my thoughts. My true thoughts that I'm amending in the moment. Why don't you do this in your jury notebook? Wait, I did do this in my jury notebook, but opinions change. And then I do think Nicole is number 6. And then I think Hayden and June. I think June's game is a little bit overrated. TBH. I think Hayden's game is a little overrated too. Like, honestly. Like, I'd put Danielle Reyes over both of them. Probably. Tyler's coming up soon, quick, but he has some big flaws. Survivor Desi, like, the thing is, Cody's probably the best competitor in Big Brother history, which is a huge factor. Her 16 game was horrible. Yeah, but then she has 2 other great games. Most people don't have 1 good game. I probably have Tyler 7. I think that's a very high ranking for Tyler for most people. But I think his game on Big Brother 20 was more impressive than most people's winning game. I think it's more impressive than Hayden or June's winning game. And then he played on 22. He just showed himself to be a good player. I think then maybe I'd go Hayden. Honestly, if he didn't go on Survivor, I'd have him lower. But I think he proved to me that he is a strategic player. Then probably June. Tiffany, I'm not there with Tiffany yet. No, Sentient. Him wanting to quit was bad, but I think he showed that his skills are very translatable. And like going into another season, I'd bet on Tyler really hard. Yeah, Danielle, I want to creep in somewhere. I'd put Danielle above both these people, actually. Jason Guy underrated. Suri's not top 20. I think she's like right on the outskirts of the top 20, I think. But she's not top 20. Jason over Danielle. I think Danielle also showed a bit of a no. I think Danielle's flawed. I think she's down here. I disagree. I think I would keep it how it was. Hayden, June, Danielle. Right. I think this feels more right to me. I think Vanessa is who I'd have next. And then I think it becomes these kinds of players. Like I think I put Tiffany, probably Eric. Paul has to be higher though. Paul's game in 19, like it was very flawed, but it was ridiculous. I'll probably put Paul here. I think Maggie. Yeah, so here's the Karen's not top 20. Karen's good though. The thing about Paul is like I really don't give anything to Paul's BB18 game at all. It did nothing for me, and then the BB19 game was incredible but very flawed more than any of these other people's games. And they obviously walked in with a ton of advantages, but they still dominated the season. If you want to put Paul above this whole like Eric, Tiffany, Vanessa group, I could understand that. Maggie, I mean, I'll put Mag. I don't think Maggie's that good. Like, you can't really convince me Maggie's a better player than April. I think they're like the same. What are you talking about, Indow? what are you responding to? I want to answer your question. Chelsea could be on that list? Not yet. Chelsea has not played very well, and then the past couple of weeks she's really turned it on, and she's been getting like, if she gets on this list, that means she's going to play very well till the end of the game. But she's playing well. Give that to her. No, I understand Maggie's the one that flipped Howie, but also April would have beaten all of them in jury, and Maggie really had no surefire way of getting rid of her. I think I'd still have her up here, though. I think 15 seems about right. Yeah, I'd probably have Enzo top 20 as well. I think Enzo I'd have towards the back end of top 20. Steve, for sure. I'd put Steve above Maggie. That's my hot take. Helen. Yeah, I don't think so. No shot, Ian. I think Enzo I'd probably have around here. Trying to think if there's any other winners I'd have. Not Lisa. No shot I would have Lisa. Xavier. Shit. Memphis is a tough one. I don't know. I don't feel like I want to put up Memphis. I don't think Memphis is the answer. I think Lisa is probably the most overrated winner in Big Brother history. I think. I think Danielle screwed up a lot, but I don't think it was Lisa like playing anyone. Allison, no shot. Nicole, no shot. Drew. I think Drew. I don't know though. Drew is so mid. He's just like won a lot of comps at the end, and I mean, Drew could be 20. He wasn't the third best player that season. Yeah, like I don't know. I think Drew's one of those guys. If he didn't win the game, no one would even consider talking about Drew. You know, Evil Dick disregarding everything else. I don't think Evil Dick cracks my top 200. To be honest, Taylor, no, not quite. You mean Lisa's BB3 win is better than Nicole's BB18? No shot. I think Nicole's BB18 win is very impressive. I think it's not one of the best winning games, but a really solid winning game. Some of the names I'm thinking of to finish this, and you guys are not going to like them. You guys are not going to like them, okay? I'm just warning you. I'm warning you ahead of time before I put the names down that you're not going to like them, okay? Casey, I think you put Casey on 50 seasons, she might win like 10 of them. Like I think she's a really, really, really well-rounded player. Boogie? No, I think Boogie played 3 times, and one time I think he played a pretty good game, like a good winning game, and then the other 2 times he was terrible. It's too big of a sample size for me. In doubt, did you respond to me? You might have. I might have missed it. Sorry. No, you said flawed seasons matter for Paul, but they don't matter for other people. Angela's top 20, maybe. Keeps going. Was Casey intentional? Ah, intentional enough. I mean, we've seen her. She plays strategically. Michael is not even in the conversation. We have one more spot for this top 20. Who's it going to be? And why will it be Jackson Mickey? JC. Okay, secretly, Lane is someone I'm heavily considering. TBH. Here's the thing also, my Xavier over Kyle. I have a secret opinion that I've been reserving in the back of my mind that Kylan's better than Xavier, but I'm not going to share it now. Nah, I think Jackson Mickey was pretty terrible. People brought up Cody or Nicole's bad seasons. Okay, Cody on BB, Cody on BB16 was not a bad season. He made a really terrible move in the end for sure, but I think Cody on that season was way better than Paul was on BB18. I think Cody was way better. Cody in BB16 was much better than Paul in BB18, and obviously Cody in 22 is better than Paul in 19. I think the problem with Paul is Paul's BB19 game was almost like inherently flawed and kind of gimmicky, just based on like it was a one returnee season. Like it's kind of like why you would devalue like Boston Rob. Like who played better, Rob in Redemption Island or Kim in One World? Well, it's pretty similar, but Kim gets the bump because she was against all newbies. Yeah, I do know that. So Cody, there's this whole thing where like everyone in the house agreed if anybody brought Victoria to the final two and cut somebody else, they would vote for Victoria. Which again, I don't think would have happened, but I think there's more going into that decision than like, you know, it's very obvious on the outside. On the inside, I could see how it wouldn't be that clear to Cody. You have Dan won his 14 game was against a really bad cast, barring Brittany. I don't know how terrible that cast was. I mean, it was pretty bad, but Shane was pretty good. I mean, it wasn't great. The whole point about that is like Dan's game in 14, he faced a ton of adversity, and it's not like he really dug himself in that hole. He just showed such a game ability, and he would have won that season if not for a jury packed against him. Like, it's not like he treated people so poorly on their way out. We know how Dan is socially. He's good. But BB14 is a weak cast for sure. Definitely a weaker cast. Why Derek's above Will? I think Will's Big Brother 2 game is almost meaningless, unfortunately. And his game. Here's the thing. Like, honestly, though, here's my secret opinion. I'd put, like, Derek number 5 and move up Will and Andy. Because Derek did it once on a cast where it was just all the bros winning all the competitions. Like, for the era, it was a really good strategy. But, like, I think Andy's better than these people. I'm sorry. I think Andy's better than Derek and Will. And I know I'm changing stuff on the fly, but that feels more right to me. How could Will's BB2 be meaningless? It was like Survivor Borneo in a lot of ways. Like, the game was so different that, like, when we're ranking Big Brother, it's just hard to apply it. And I don't think Will played Big Brother 2 very well. He played it well enough to win. But I think he's more of a showman on that season than he is a great strategist. And I think I struggle to see how Will's game is translatable to modern or even middle-aged seasons. We still have Derek ahead of Cody. Yeah, I mean, the thing about Derek over Cody is, like, Derek beat him head-to-head. My argument against it was that Cody was 22, and then Cody went on and played another dominant game. So what's better, one gold medal or one gold medal and a silver medal? Will on BB7 was a masterclass. That's basically why I have him as the 5th best player of all time. Like, it's a good ranking. I think his game Big Brother 7 was insane. Yeah, but in doubt, it's the fun of it. You gotta, you can't have 2 different rankings. Your top 5 is all out of order. I like this. I like how I did this. This is a very creative top 5. I feel like everyone is. No, Bowie left this morning. He still lost from sloppy play. Yeah, he didn't. If he pulled BB7 out, it'd be a different conversation. 16 is the most boring season. I don't think it's the most boring. It's up there. But I think 22 is more boring, right? 16 still had a pretty fun cast. Where does Rachel and Janelle? I mean, I don't know. Probably like Janelle got close to winning a couple times, but they're probably both around 80 to 90, probably. 70, 80, 90, if I had to guess. Janelle, you just have to give her credit for the comp ability in the early seasons, and then Rachel, kind of the same thing, just comp ability. Rachel won. You guys know how I feel about placement. Placement doesn't matter that much to me. I don't care about placement like that. I care about, like, the game you played. Jason Guy at 20. You could put Jason at 20 if you want. I'm thinking Lane. I think Lane is my answer. It's kind of. I know all the Lane truthers are pretty happy about this. Is Lane better than Drew? Honestly, if you're asking me to recount BB5 like that, we're going to have a problem. Like, I'll do my best, but. Nah, Dr. Will is not close to Dan. He's not. Both of. So they have 4 games, right? They have Big Brother 2. Let's do this, okay? 1, 2, 3, 4. Here's how I rank their games. The best game was Dan BB10. The second best game was Dan BB14. The third best game was Will BB7, and the fourth best game was Will BB2. 7, I think that's an insane. Like, again, we're just not even close to the same page, Giesling traders. Like, 14 above 7 is one of the easiest decisions I've ever made. He fucked up 7. Dan played one of the best end games in Big Brother history in Big Brother 14, and Will threw away a winning position. Like, he tossed it away. He was Lane from Big Brother 12, runner up, 1 vote away from winning. But it was kind of not even 1 vote away from winning, right? Because of the whole, like, Brendan and Rachel votes. They were, like, sympathy votes, right? Dan tossed it away in the final 2. What are you talking about? How did Dan toss it away in the final 2? What do you... No, you're just full of shit. What do you mean? There was a fucking pact against him. He was in a no-win situation. He loses to Danielle. It's not like if he was a dick like Paul, I would get it. Left terrible goodbye messages. Will's problems at the ends were self-inflicted wounds. Dan just... That's tough. Lane might not be a top 20 runner-up for me. Yeah. I'd love to put someone else in. Should I just put Taylor so in case this gets posted on Twitter? How's it self-inflicted wounds? At the final 5, he was being really messy, him and Boogie, trying to loop everyone into Chilltown, and it made it very clear to Erica and Janelle that they were being played, and it gave Erica the ability to sway Janelle. And even if that was just the TV reason why he did it, he lost Janelle's loyalty to Erica. Like, that's not good. That's the edit. Look, I can't... You have to understand, like, at Big Brother 7, I was 5. You know what I mean? I wish you watched the feeds. It's hard. Like, I don't think you guys could expect me to, like, watch feeds back from year... Like, it's a lot to ask, I think. I think I'm as qualified as most people doing these lists. So, in your explanation, why was Will voted out at the final 4? Explain it to me. Explain it to me like I'm 5. One thing about Will that also hurts his game is the fact that he never won a competition. And I get it, that's his strategy, but goddamn would it have been good if he won any competitions at the final 5 on in Big Brother 4 or Big Brother 7. Hard to say it all typing. Sydney, what they're saying is that was the episode narrative, not the reality, which I could believe. He was so close to being Erica that one time. Yeah. I mean, comps are important. I don't mind his strategy of throwing comps, but I would like to see some competence in that field. I gotta think he was playing for Boogie to win since he had already won BB2. That's fine. I'm gonna hold that against him. You know what I mean? He hurt his finger. Wow. He didn't commit to her in the jacuzzi. Janelle was pissed off for the James eviction. Oh, so I actually have heard that. The whole, like, if Will made out with Janelle, he probably wins Big Brother 7. Is that what we're talking about? And look, if you're saying, like, oh, Dr. Will had a girlfriend outside the house, he didn't want to do whatever with Janelle, like, that's fine. I don't want to hold that against him. But, like, at the end of the day, he mismanaged his relationship with Janelle to the point where Erica was able to convince her to vote. Like, that's not good. Look, here's the thing. I don't hold Erica Landon as a great player. I think Will should have been able to keep Janelle misted for an extra day. I'm sorry. That's it. The banana bread, yeah. He did low-key cheat. I mean, if I was his girlfriend watching him and Janelle on Big Brother 7, I would not feel comfortable with what they were doing. I guess my question remains, how the fuck, despite any of this, do you rank his Big Brother 7 game over Dan's BB14 game? Dan's BB14 game was so good. Like, what could Dan have done differently? Like, he got them all to throw him the final 3 HOH. Part 1, at least. You know what I mean? Like, that's insane. He had a free month as well. Yeah, and Dr. Will got to come in with his best friend. Returning players have a Stark advantage. I think his Stark advantage was balanced by the Stark disadvantage of they were refusing to vote for a returning player. You know what I mean? Like, so all I can do is judge how Dan maneuvered the game as it was, and he maneuvered it very well. Dan being a returning player on Big Brother 14 is less of an asterisk than Will playing Big Brother 2. Like, that season was a joke. Like a joke. He came in with the best friend into a house full of season 6 and season 5. I think the Will is better than Dan argument is like a really hard one to make that is really fueled by nostalgia. That's my opinion. Thank you, Nathan, for the 9 months. How are you doing? Can I ask why Enzo's on the list? Don't even open that can of worms. Bad idea. Okay, look, Giesling, I know I'm going to say something and you're going to be like, yeah, but I watch the feeds and this is true. And I understand because you're probably right. And this is the same way I felt talking to Bowie about the game. But I think Boogie had a massive role in their win on BB7 in terms of roping in Erica. And I feel like he was the main point person with Danielle. And I feel like he played a very pivotal role. And he also won competitions where Will couldn't. You know what I mean? Obviously, Will played better than Boogie in that season, and Boogie's not a great player. But I think this winning game is a little bit disrespected. Will's peak is the best ever. I think it's hard to argue that Derek's peak is not the best. I think Derek's peak is probably the best, which is very sad. But just in terms of peak. The reason I have Andy above Derek, though, is I just think Andy's game is so much more repeatable than Derek's. Lane 3 over lane 2 is wild. Let's set her up. Twitter, do your thing. You think Suri's a crazy person to put 20? Because I do think if you put Suri on Big Brother 2 or 7, she wins the season by far. You know what I mean? I think it's just... The problem is, like, Suri was in a competition. It was in the comp era. You know what I mean? I don't think she's the best social player ever, but she's good. So that's why the era thing is hard. But I think she also had so many advantages coming in, it's kind of hard to evaluate. Suri wins the season with equitable comps. I still think, like, even equitable comps, I don't think Suri's winning anything. You know what I mean? Like, and I mean this truly. Like, I don't... Is that... Yeah, definitely a podcast this week, Stan. We're going to be catching up, going hard on the Patreon. We were a bit lazy last week. It was very busy, obviously. I think it's the least hot take of all time, Giesling. That's everyone. That's the most cold hot take. Like, everyone has that hot take about Roddy. Yeah, Jag would have been eliminated sooner, but then does Suri win? Maybe. I still think like Suri is always destined to get cut at the final 4 or 3. That's like her spot, unfortunately. Especially with how the final 3 HOH works, like getting someone to drag her to the final 2 is going to be so hard. Assuming she doesn't go in the game with her son, of course. No, this is just my top 20 of all time. I don't know. For 20, I'm spiraling. I can't figure it out who I want to put there. Can't figure it out. Frankie Grande, anyone? Tommy Bracco, anyone? Any takers? James Hewling, any takers? Mickey. I'm not putting Mickey on this list. Fuck that. Definitely not Nokomis. Vanessa's already on, yeah. Vanessa, I've got a 10, 11. Frankie's good, but you can't. Yeah, we're posting. We're doing all the Patreon stuff. We're back. Frank, interesting. James Ryan, no shot. Brian from BB10. It's interesting. I'll consider it. I've got a devious choice. Yeah, someone said it. Memphis. I think Memphis is an interesting one. You could definitely make a case for Memphis. But I don't think he was very good in All Stars. And he obviously wasn't good in BB10, but he made 2 deep runs. Screenshot, put it on Twitter. Yeah, I'll do Jason. I think Jason's a fine answer. I'm satisfied putting Jason here. The only reason I don't is because he played 1 season and it was Big Brother 3, but Big Brother 3 was like more developed strategically than Big Brother 4 and 5, honestly. Y'all trying to get me to put Morgan Willett? Andy and Derek over Will. Yeah, I feel confident about that. I feel very comfortable in that ranking. I don't think it's Allison Irwin erasure. I think Allison is a very flawed player. Like a pretty terrible player. Better than me, sure, but I think she's like, she was terrible on All Stars, tell you that much. And Big Brother 4, it's like a very circumstantial season. I love the way she played. I think it's like really not repeatable though. Where would America rank Will? I mean, she doesn't really know. She hasn't watched Big Brother 7 like that. We're watching it now. Tucker. I like that. Should I put Tucker at 20? I like that. You're right. It's more like here. Well, sorry, y'all. The plan for today's stream was kind of. I was going to sit here and wait for the veto thing to happen and talk about what I thought the best plan was, but we got held up at Home Goods. So I got here a little bit late. On Big Brother 7, I think she liked Allison a lot. Janelle's very fun on this season. But I think she's more so just mad at season 6. She doesn't understand why they're so stupid. Yeah, when the Legion of Doom forms, that'll be fun. It's one of the most fun alliances ever, I think. When you say I'm missing them, what do you mean? Like on the top 20 list? I'm missing them? I think the argument for Enzo is he made it to the final three twice. Granted, you could say he didn't have good jury prospects, but he was an active strategic player and an active participant in each season's strategy. And he was like never going home ever. Like he avoided the block basically all of his seasons for the most part. Like, it's a good resume. It's not a top 10 resume, but it's a good resume. If you want to put him like below Casey and Xavier, that's fine. It's almost like Bowie Jane, but Bowie Jane wasn't playing as active a role in the strategy, right? Jets or Niners tonight? I'm fading the Jets hard this season. I did my football predictions. Let me show those to anyone. By the way, I'm in a fantasy football league with Tyler, Nicole from 24. I think Amira might be in it. um, it's like a lot of Big Brother people. Frankie Grande. Um, Tyler Crispin. It's like all Big Brother. It's like 7 Big Brother people. It's like weird, but I was invited to it by someone. I'm like, sure. And I auto drafted because I was moving. So we'll see how we do. But Nightmare blunt rotation. What are you gonna do? So this is my rank. So I've got Dolphins winning the NFC East, Jags winning the NFC AFC South or AFC East, AFC South, Chiefs AFC West, Ravens AFC North, Bills, Bengals, Broncos as my 3 wild cards. And then I got Cowboys, Saints. Saints is my hot take, and this is looking fire right now. Saints winning the South. And then Niners, Lions. Then I got my Cardinals, Bucks, and Eagles. Cardinals, I think they look good for a wild card spot right now. I like the Bucks still. And then the Eagles, I got 7. Jets are ass. And then this is my crazy take. I have Dolphins beating the Cowboys. Look, here's my thought about the Dolphins. The Dolphins, they're going to win one Super Bowl and then fade back into nothingness. I think they're going to be the 1 seed. It's a really bad take. I don't stand by it. Bears erasure. The Bears are going to be pretty good. They might take the Cardinal spot, but I had some favoritism. Aaron Rodgers is not going to miss the playoffs like he did the last time he played 2 years ago before he tore his ACL. When he had a game against the Lions to get in the playoffs and threw an interception on the last drive to lose the game. That Aaron Rodgers, who wanted to be vice president this offseason, who missed training camp to go to Egypt, who missed more training to go to an ayahuasca conference, that Aaron Rodgers, who lied about being vaccinated, said he was immunized, who endorsed RFK. That's your guy? Okay. The Broncos is my hot take. It's my hot take, Stan. Look, every season there's someone goes in there and you don't expect. Right now, I take the Bengals off. Fucking losers. I think the Colts will be good. I kind of like Anthony Richardson. I don't think he's super good, but he's fun. A damn good player. I think he was a damn good player a while ago. Bo Nix is terrible. Yeah, but I think they're going to have him play a very limited role. Like Steelers finishing over 500. I believe it. Tomlin. All he has to do is be average on the Jets. Can he be average? We'll see. My one hot take also is I don't have the Texans on here, which looks like a bad take. The Texans seem pretty good. All right, I'm gonna get offline before it becomes Corey's Sports Corner. Should I have an alt where I just talk about sports? Because I know I lost half of you. I'm tweeting you if Rodgers throws 3 TDs. Not gonna happen. Clip it. Nobody would watch, but yeah. All right, y'all. I'm gonna get offline. We're gonna ramp things up. We're gonna have a podcast tomorrow. We're gonna have a PB7 rewatch tonight or tomorrow. We're gonna be pushing hard on this Patreon. It's important to get things going again. HelloFresh is still active. If you guys are interested, let me see if I can pull it up. Exclamation mark HelloFresh. Let's see, get the link. Are you going to do the verse thing with America? Yeah, we should. Maybe we'll play Mario Kart tonight and post that. That'll be fun. Dinner was delicious. Bowie's wonderful. She did karate chop a glass into 3 pieces, which is impressive. You could ask her about it on one of her lives. But that's about it, I think. Go see Beetlejuice. We're definitely going to. We're excited. We haven't been in the movies in a while. We got to make use of our AMC. And I am going to the Survivor event this weekend. Yes, I'm also going to a watch party for the premiere, which will be fun. And then I'm going to TwitchCon. I also got in touch with someone from Twitch about my age problem. Thank you all on Twitter who got that done. TwitchCon is the 20th, like the 19th to the 22nd. We're just going one day on the Saturday. It's in San Diego. You buy a ticket? Hell yeah, Steele. Be nice to meet you. Y'all know what Steele did, by the way, right? Online, on Twitter. You guys saw this? Steele bought a cameo from Matt Hoffman, pretended like he did it accidentally, as if he was asking Matt Hardiman for it. He's so stupid. I'm glad, though, because at least he gave Matt Hoffman some money. Patreon.com/SteelCage. I gotta unsubscribe from your Patreon or whatever, because I think I did it on stream as a joke, and now I'm getting fucking emails. It was really funny. Mom, do not encourage him. But you should play Peggle, Mom. I think you'd enjoy it. I think Molly would enjoy it, too. The fact that Matt posted it, that was funny. What is Peggle? Ask Steele about it. Because I said Steve from BB20. That's funny. All right, I'm going to get off. Thank you all for hanging. We'll stream tomorrow. All day, basically. All right, bye-bye.